Hi, and welcome to the last video in the food etiquette series. This is the end game. This is the end result of the training, and this is what I can trust my dogs to do and what I expect my dogs to do. And that's remain totally calm around food, to respect not only each other but me as well and other people that may be in the vicinity, to wait calmly and to give up food at any point. So whether they're gorging on a meaty bone or whether they're eating standard food, and it's not a party trick. This isn't done so I can, at a party say, hey, look, I can do this to a dog. That'll just simply get you bitten. This is for emergencies. So the only time my dogs get this training is when I first get them, and then once or twice a year I'll run back through the whole thing with them. And if there ever is an emergency, that this would be enacted and I would be able to do this. So, for instance, if one of the dogs grabbed a big ham bone off a counter, you're out somewhere, they grab a duck or a rabbit, somebody's chihuahua, a small baby from a pram, anything like that, you want to be able to get those back. And the thing is, what the dog has at that point, what it has grabbed, has become its highest valued resource. So unless the dog's trained, it's likely not to give that up. It's very easy to give a hand feed something and tell it to leave it. It's very easy to even put a meaty bone in its mouth and take it out and say, I can take meaty bones out of my dog's mouth. It's a different thing when it's a prey, when the animal's picked it up, and it's different when the animal's actually in the middle of gorging on it. That's when you're going to need to do it, and that's when it's difficult, and that's why it's so important. As well as that, it also tends to stop resource guarding, or at least limit it dramatically, and just makes for calmer dogs around situations that are quite dangerous, because food and dogs, as I keep saying, is a dangerous situation. So you want the dogs to be totally calm and then be able to control what they're doing. Dogs, take food. Bowl. Bowl. Yes, bowl. And then you need to be able to stop them at any time. Benji, leave, back up. Koji, Kama. And so you can see, generally just approaching them, they will back up and allow me access. And again, they'll remain really calm. And that's what you want. And the same with meat. Leave. Gentle. Out. Gentle. Else. Good. Go. And again, they should remain calm and they should respect it. Take it. Else. Else. Good. Okay. Yeah. Good. Back. Sit. Good. And again, being able to throw it out there, control which dog can go, it's very important. At this point, you need them to listen. And generally, you wouldn't throw food out, but this is just an example to see that you can do that. Or what I can do is I can do that and still get the dog to listen to me and recall back. And there's just no arguments, there's no problem with it. And it doesn't mean I don't pay attention, it doesn't mean I'm not very careful. But it does mean I do know these dogs. And again, it's not something I would ever recommend throwing food down on where there's a group of dogs. And it's not something I do generally, other than when I'm getting them to share. Gentle. Else. Good. Else. Gentle. And then they're being very carefully monitored. But it comes down to where if I can throw, for some reason I drop the bone or something, I've got those dogs converging, is that I can simply call them off, one of them, multiple dogs, whatever, and get them to leave it. And that's very important, that they listen. And focus is also a big thing to have. So a really strong focus allows you to get them to come off something like that. especially when you've got multiple dogs going for it. Alright, and this is where it's difficult. When they're gorging on it, when they've got total control of it, this is where it's dangerous. So this is where you need a really calm dog around food, and one that'll listen. Kuma, House. Good. And so you want them just to give it up, and he stayed very calm, very relaxed. And the reason being that he knows that this will come back to him, or something else will come back to him, that I'm not going to take this valuable resource and he's just going to go without. So there's no need for him to resource guard, there's no need for him to get aggressive, there's no need for him to get upset, because he knows it'll come back. Yes. Alright, and again, I'm not recommending anybody does this. I'm simply showing what I can do at the end of training with my dogs. And doing something like this, you need to know your dog really, really well. To throw a bone out in for a couple of dogs to go for is really dangerous. Those dogs will, you're really running risk those dogs will fight. But having enough control that when you can call either an individual dog back or both dog backs is really important. So all this training really is important to help stop resource guarding, to make feeding easier, to make feeding safer, not only for you and your family, but for the dogs themselves. Because, it's alright to say, well, I can feed my dog, it would never bite me, blah, blah, blah. But if you've got multiple dogs, the other risk is the dogs fighting each other. And no matter how well they get on, food makes enemies really quickly. Alright, so I hope this series has helped, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.